Hi guys, welcome back to your professional diploma in fitness and weight loss, and we are on to lesson 8 of module 1, which is all about barriers to your long-term results and how do we actually teach people the right mindset and management skills to actually get those results. So before we do get started, as usual, I just want to do a quick sound check. So if you can't hear me, type yes or hello as usual. And if you can't, hopefully you are reading the screen and you type no, and the support staff will help you if you're having any issues. So let's continue. Quick recap on lesson 7 before we get stuck into today's content. What we looked at in lesson 7 was injury prevention and mobility, and the importance of mobility, not just in our training, but in our day-to-day life, so it doesn't affect our posture, our stress levels, and have a negative effect on our muscles and recovery. So we looked at mobility, we looked at injury and poor mobility when it comes to sports injuries, but also just sedentary lifestyle mobility, and then we looked at warming up and cooling down correctly for long sessions. All right, so today what are we going to look at? Well, a very important lesson today. We're going to look at essentially factors that affect us negatively when it comes to long-term results. So what are the factors that will either stop us or possibly affect our motivation to actually remind ourselves that why we're doing it in the first place? We're going to look at stress and stress management because there's so many different types of stress, which especially these days in our society are rising with things like environmental stress and technology. And then we're going to look at what we really need to do to get long-term results, because it's not just about putting in, the planning when it comes to our training and our nutrition, but it also is being able to have the ability and the habit to actually execute that long-term, because if we don't do it long-term, we're not going to get the results long-term, So we have to be doing it on a daily basis. So that's what we're going to look at. So the first thing I want to look at is factors that affect us negatively when we're trying to get better results when it comes to our health and fitness. And if you think about it, what are some of the factors that may affect us getting fitness results long-term? Well, apart from obviously not following a plan, there's many. So let's go through them, okay? And there's a number of factors. The big one is obviously having no plan or sporadic workouts. Now, anyone expecting to get results when it comes to their health, their fitness, their weight loss, their fat loss, their body shape, you can't possibly expect results without work. Okay, so if you don't have a plan, if you're doing sporadic workouts, if they make no sense, if they're not based around the science of changing your body and your fitness, when it comes to what we've looked at over the past few lessons, strength training, cardiovascular training, mobility, consistency, and then being able to progress that as you get fitter, well then you're not going to see results. It's as simple as that. Okay, so you do need a plan. You do need to make sure that you're doing what you need to do on a daily and weekly basis long term to get that. The next one is, of course, bad or undernutrition, because we can work out 7 days a week, but without the right nutrition, the right amount of calories, the right fuel. We talked about this, remember? Food is your fuel. So without the right fuel, then again, you're not going to see the results you want, because this is going to affect how your body recovers. This is going to decide whether your body uses body fat or not, if you're looking to lose weight. And in general, it will affect how your body works. I mean, food is your fuel. Now, I know I've said this a few times, but really think about that, okay? The vitamins and minerals in whole food are designed to do specific things in your body. Give you energy. Make sure you have the right hormone levels. Make sure your body is recovering properly. Keep your hair, your skin, all at good, optimal levels. So if you're getting bad or undernourished, well then how do you expect that's all going to actually run? And like I said, you wouldn't buy a brand new car and start putting the cheapest horrible petrol in it and expect it to run properly. So why do we do that to our bodies? Well, it's a big question, isn't it? Bad sleep and recovery. Okay, and we did talk about this a little bit, obviously, when it comes to a recovery plan and how important sleep is in a recovery plan in the last lesson. But sleep is vitally important. And we're going to look at it in Module 2, how important it is when it comes to resetting your central nervous system, when it comes to rebalancing your hormones, when it comes to setting your metabolism. It is vitally important. Okay? Cheating on your diet too much. Now, the big one here is most people think, if you ask most people, oh, how's your diet? They're like, oh yeah, it's good 80-90% of the time. It's not actually the case, okay? Because they'll say, yeah, it's good except for the weekends and evenings. If you work out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if that's when you start to fall apart, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is 42% of your week. 42% of your week. So, or 47% of your week, I think. So you're actually only being good 53% of your week. So you really need to look at how much are you deviating from your whole healthy food. How much alcohol, how much sugary food, how much processed food are you eating compared to whole food. And then lastly, guys, work and life stress. But work and life stress is actually a huge one, because psychological stress will manifest physically. Physical stress will not be repaired or recovered from if we're getting bad sleep and we're undernourished and we're cheating on our diet, we're not working out. So to get effective results, it's about being aware of all these factors and having a plan in place for each of these factors to make sure that 90% of the time, 80% of the time, we're staying on track with that area of getting the result. Okay? And the first one, let's look at it now. No plan and sporadic workouts. Now I say this to every client I've ever trained. If you can't commit 2% of your day to achieving your fitness results, if you can't commit 30 minutes per day, 4 to 5 times per week to improving your fitness, improving your body shape, improving your energy levels, and improving the way your body functions to activity and exercise, you are never going to get the fitness results that you want. And the reason why you're never going to get the fitness results that you want is because you're not even committing 2% of your day to it. Now, if you think about how much of a percent per day you put into your work and put into your family and put into maybe your hobbies compared to actually keeping your body physically fit. And I know, because people don't think of it as something they have to commit to, but we live in a very sedentary lifestyle. We live in a very toxic environment now when it comes to bad food and underactivity, that we have to do that. So be very aware. If you're not committing 30 minutes per day, 4 to 5 times per week, that sounds like a lot to some people, but trust me, it's not. You can skip 30 minutes of TV. You can skip 30 minutes of doing nothing. You can skip 30 minutes of a commute by getting off the bus earlier and doing a workout, doing something. It's 30 minutes per day. It's 2% of your day, guys. Now think about if you were to put 2% of your day into your work and have to achieve all the deadlines you have to. You never would. So what I'm asking for and what I'm telling people always is 2% of your day, 4 to 5 times per week, and you will get the results you want if you're consistent with everything else. But if you're not doing that, not a hope. Okay, so that's what you need. Now, results from training come from 3 things. One of them is consistency. And that's the biggest one. If you are not consistent 4 times a week with your training, with progressing your strength, your cardiovascular fitness, and your mobility on a weekly basis, you don't have to worry about each workout, but you have to be consistently doing each workout so you're getting better in that actual type of fitness. If you're not doing it consistently, you're never going to see results. The second thing is frequency of workouts. How many? 4 times a week pretty much is perfect for me. 5 or 6 if I can get it in. Okay? And then the third is progression and time. And patience. Patience and progression. Because you're not going to get the results you think you want in 3 weeks. It's going to take 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. If you're a fitness professional and you're teaching people this, tell them it's going to take them 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. They didn't get out of shape in 3 weeks or a month. It possibly took years for them to get out of shape. So think about it. If it took them years to get out of shape, it's not going to take them 2 months to get in shape. But if you actually accept that and you understand that that's the case, that's fine. Now we can commit to what we need to do on a daily basis and enjoy it. So I always say 2 strength, 2 HIIT, or 2 cardio, or whatever way you want. And with the strength training, again, we can do some form of circuit training, so we also get a cardiovascular workout from that. But it doesn't really matter, guys. Even if it's 1 strength and 3 HIIT, it's fine. It doesn't matter. What matters is 4 workouts per week. What matters is you were consistent with those 4 workouts per week. And what matters is you're actually seeing progress in those 4 workouts a week. So you need to, they get easier, you make them harder. They get easier, you make them harder. And you keep seeing that routine of easier, harder every few weeks. And then progression in time, what does that mean? Giving those workouts consistency and giving those workouts the frequency that over 6, 9, 12, 24-month period you see the results. Not 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 8 weeks. You need to drastically relook at how long it's going to take you to get the results. because there is nothing in life you get results from in 3 or 4 weeks. Nothing. And you know this. But for some reason, people have been brainwashed by the media and the fitness industry and the weight loss industry to think they can get results in 5, 6, 7 weeks. You can get results in 5 or 6 or 7 weeks if you've only been sedentary and inactive for 5 or 6 or 7 weeks. So you're only reversing 6 weeks of sedentary lifestyle. But if you're reversing 2 years of sedentary lifestyle, it may take you 2 years to reverse it. But if you have that acceptance and you have that patience and you understand it's about progression and you understand what level you're at, then you can enjoy the daily work. You can enjoy the grind. Because if you don't enjoy the workouts, you're never going to get the results, because the workouts, they take time. And that's why we have to enjoy them. So how do we enjoy them? Very simply, we plan them. Like everything else in life, we plan them. So Monday, you do your strength upper body session. Tuesday, you do your HIIT cardio. Wednesday, you do your strength lower body session. Thursday, you do 15,000 steps. Friday, you do 15,000 steps. Saturday, you might do a HIIT cardio session. And then Sunday, you might take a rest day. So there's your 4 workouts, and there's 2 days where you're making sure you're overly active compared to what you normally are. Now, this is very, very simple, because Monday is 30 minutes, Tuesday is 30 minutes, Wednesday is 30 minutes, Saturday is 30 minutes, and then all we're doing on Thursday and Friday is making sure that we're getting over our step count. So if we can plan it like that, and we plan the times exactly into your schedule, okay? Because if we plan specifics, we will follow specifics. If we plan vaguely, we're not putting it as a priority. So do it like that, 9 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 a.m. That's the way I do my workouts. So it's the only way I can fit them in, and that's how I plan them. So you have to plan them, and then you simply follow that plan like anything else. When you're in work, you don't show up anytime you want. You show up at 9 a.m. and you leave at 5 p.m. and in that time you have exact things you want to do. Workouts are the exact same, guys. And we have to teach our clients or teach ourselves the same thing. We show up at 9 p.m., we do the workout like we planned, we finish it at 9:30, and we get out of there. And we look for progression. We look for progress every few weeks. Same with the HIIT cardio. Make sense? Okay, good. So, let's look at the next thing, our nutrition. Okay? So we have a couple of different options when it comes to our nutrition. Are we going to have bad nutrition or good nutrition? And what effect is this going to have on our fitness results? So once we have our training sorted firstly, and when I say firstly, always your training first. Always get your routine of your training first, because the routine of your training will actually give you that change in hormones. Will change your serotonin and dopamine, will reduce your cortisol, will make you feel good. And once you're doing these workouts for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, and I've given them to you guys, they're on the sheet. I have given you the workouts. You got your HIIT workouts in your guidelines. You got your strength workout that we put in on lesson 4. You have them. So get stuck in and progress them as you need to progress them, all right? But once we have that routine and we're enjoying them, we have to make sure we have the nutrition that's going to give us results. And if we're still eating crap food, crap fuel, it's going to slow our recovery. It's going to slow our progression. It's going to slow any strength gains we get. We're not going to see physical results anytime soon. And because we're not seeing physical results, what's going to end up happening is we're going to lose our motivation and want to give up. And a lot of the time, people don't see physical results in the speed that they want, which is always about half the speed is where you're actually going to see the results. It takes 10 to 12 weeks to see real physical change, guys. Now, 10 to 12 weeks is 3 months of work. Not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks, not 4 weeks. 3 times what people think it takes to see physical results. People think they'll see it in 3 and 4 weeks. You will actually see it in about 10 weeks. And if we do make the mistake of getting bad nutrition out of the workouts, we're never going to see it. So we'll feel better, but physically we won't see any change because your body doesn't need to use body fat. It's very hard to see physical changes if you're not physically changing. So what happens with good nutrition? We recover from our workouts every 1 to 2 days. We see progress every 3 to 4 weeks. Now, whether it be in our strength, in our fitness, or physically, one of the areas. There's noticeable strength gains. We can see ourselves getting stronger. 8 weeks ago, we were using 4 kilos. now we're using 9 kilos. If we're getting stronger, if we're twice the strength we were 8 weeks ago, what's happening to your muscle? Your muscle is getting stronger. It's changing shape. It's toning up. If we have the right nutrition, we're losing fat. You have to be confident in the process. And if you're confident in the process and you're seeing noticeable gains, you just have to trust in the process. Keep taking progress pictures. Keep comparing them every 4 or 6 weeks. Not every week, but every 4 or 6 weeks. And compare 8 weeks to week 1, and 10 weeks to week 1, and 12 weeks to week 1. But don't compare week 9 to week 8, because you're not going to see much of a difference. We're going to see physical and mental changes. And really try and notice your mental changes. Because so many people give up when they feel 100 times better, but they don't see it. They don't physically see it. And I always say to them, well, hang on, how do you feel? Oh, well, I feel amazing. So why would you give it up? Why would you give up training just because at the moment you're not seeing a physical change, but it's drastically changed how you feel and how you think of yourself and how mentally more healthy you are? So really be aware of your energy levels, your happiness, your motivation, your really openness then to learn, develop, and grow and get better. If that's improving and that's getting better, well, that's going to give us long-term motivation. Because motivation is very much short-term. We have to continually see motivation and feed motivation through the results we're getting. So if we're not noticing the results, it's very hard to keep that motivation up. And we see the motivation improve when we're very much aware of seeing small wins and small gains. Because you have to see it. But don't expect too much from yourself when it comes to workouts. Any improvement is an improvement. And when it comes to fitness, your body will only change a certain amount. Now, where's the mistake everyone makes? They cheat too much. They might get most of it right, but they cheat too much. They overeat in the weekends and the evenings. Okay? That's 43% of your week. Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, 43% of your week. So you might think you're good 80% of the time, but you're not. Now, only a little over half the time you're actually good. Okay? Drinking too much alcohol, drinking too much processed food, and overindulging in healthy foods will all affect fat loss. Remember, what do we need to do for fat loss? For fat loss, we need to make sure that we're in a calorie deficit. If we're not in a calorie deficit, guys, we're not losing any fat. It doesn't matter how fit and how strong we're getting over 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 16 weeks. If we're not in a calorie deficit, we're not going to lose the fat. Yeah, we're going to build muscle. Yeah, we're going to build strength. Yeah, we're going to build fitness. Physically, we're not going to look a hell of a lot different because we still have that fat sitting on top of the muscle. So we have to be in a calorie deficit. To be in a calorie deficit, we have to be able to know what we're eating on a weekly basis and how good we are. And how do we do it? The exact same thing as the workouts. We plan it. Okay? So we use things like food diaries. If you want to use MyFitnessPal, if you want to just use a simple picture food diary to see if your portion sizes are matching the portion control method that we looked at in our nutrition lesson. Okay? Meals. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Just have 3 regular square meals per day. Meal 1, meal 2, meal 3. I don't care what you call them. Have 3 good sized regular meals per day. Okay? Snacks. Snack on fruit. If you're training a lot, maybe a protein shake. Okay? Very simple. We don't need to be snacking on chocolate bars and all of these processed food snacks that are marketed to us these days as healthy. Why would we need them if we're just simply having water, fruit, maybe, and I say maybe something like a green juice or a green smoothie to get some more micronutrients in, but just make sure it's not 700 calories. Okay, shopping. Buy ingredients in shopping, not junk food. So many people go to do their food shop when they're hungry and they end up buying loads of junk food. Eat before you go for your food shop. And then when you're going for your food shop, buy your ingredients for your breakfast, your lunch, your dinners, and your snacks. That's it. We can't go wrong if we're buying ingredients. Because what we're doing is we're buying ingredients for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and our snacks to get some fruit. Or maybe some soup. That's fine. But if we don't actually plan on what we're buying, we're just going to end up buying junk food. All right? And then lastly, guys, plan your treat. Plan your treat. Don't just overindulge every single day. What I say is indulge a small amount every day, maybe 10%. So if you want a couple of squares of dark chocolate, or, a small bar, like 120 calorie worth of a very good quality kind of dark chocolate or even milk chocolate, that's fine. And then plan maybe if you're having a meal out or a few drinks in the weekend, and really look forward to going to that and doing that on the weekend. But if your planned treat is every single night of the week, how are you ever going to create a calorie deficit? Or you're just not even thinking about it, and you start telling yourself, well, you deserve a treat here and you deserve a treat there because you did a workout. No, guys, you're working out to create a calorie deficit and improve your body shape, your health, your fitness, your cardiovascular health. And remember, if you're putting in all that work to get those results and you simply just eat lots of junk food as treats, you're cancelling out all of that hard work when it comes to losing fat and body shape. So don't do it. And here's the big one for me, because every time I go to the supermarket and every time I have a meal, it's something that I learned many, many years ago. Because I realized that food is our fuel. And there are healthy versions of every single meal that I enjoy much more than most junk food. Now, when I say most junk food, I'm guilty for really enjoying a few slices of pizza and a couple of German beers of a Saturday evening. And that is my guilty treat that I have once a week. But the rest of the time, there's one thing I think about. And that one thing is, every time I eat or drink, I'm either feeding disease or I'm fighting it. So we know that lots of processed food, that sedentary lifestyle, that alcohol in high amounts is feeding disease. Okay? Cardiovascular disease, stroke, heart attack, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity. Too much of the processed food, too much of the alcohol, too much of the junk is feeding disease. But I know if I eat whole food 90% of the time, fruits, vegetables, carbohydrates, good protein quality, good sources of quality protein, I am fighting disease. I am reducing my risk of all of those diseases. So every single time you have a meal, look at that meal and ask yourself, is that feeding disease or is it fighting disease? And that might give you some perspective each time you look at your food to remember its fuel. What do you want that fuel to do? Because it's going to do one of them, so it's your choice. Make sense, guys? Okay, so what's the next one? The next one is stress. And I want to cover this very, very seriously because this is something that affects every single one of us these days. Society now is overworked, underslept, overstressed, and not only that, we haven't been given the actual skills to manage stress earlier in life. So we've grown up in a society that's changed so much and has so many types of stressors that it's almost impossible for you not even to realize how stressed you are. So what I want you to think about is, what are the different types of stress we deal with each day? Like, if you just think about it, you sit there now and you get a conversation going in the peer group or the peer community and have a chat about what are the types of stress. Because there's three main types of stress, guys. Okay? The first one is physiological stressor. Now, a physiological stressor is physical effort, injury, infection, disease, drugs, and so on. Now, these can either have a positive or a negative effect. So physical effort and exercise will obviously have a positive effect in improving our strength, our health, our fitness, our activity. But injury, infection, disease will all have a negative effect because it's trying to break down our body. Drugs that are there to actually repair us or help us recover will have both a positive and a negative effect because it will break us down a little bit to kill the virus and we have to build ourselves back up. So physiological stressors, okay? Injury, infection, disease, drugs, exercise, and so on. The next one is psychological stressors. So this is life-changing events, family issues, death, problems at work, just stress build-up in general, that we allow anxiety to build up among situations that we either haven't dealt with or think we have to deal with in the future. And this is an absolutely huge one these days because I think the rise of different psychological stressors within society over the past 30 or 40 years has probably been tenfold. Like if you look at even social media now, it's creating a culture of people feeling like they're not good enough because they're watching other people's highlights. So they're putting expectations on themselves about what their life should be instead of actually enjoying what their life is. So we have a load of different examples like that. But psychological stressors are absolutely huge, and they will manifest physically. And then lastly, guys, environmental stressors. So we're talking about heat, pollution, noise, overcrowding, climate, air quality, and technology. We are now surrounded by technology, more noise, more visual effects, more stimulation of the brain. Do you think this is a good or a bad thing? Because trust me, guys, this is a bad thing. We very rarely are now sitting in silence. We're very rarely enjoying nature, getting fresh air, getting back in touch with what the world is. And we know, we've seen studies that are showing that these three types of stressors have increased over the past 50 years. And along with these increasing over the past 50 years, so has disease, chronic stress, depression, suicide, everything. And these are a major contributor to why people have struggle and have problems, not just getting in shape, but actually building the life they want. Because they have too much stressors, too many stressors, and they don't know how to actually deal with them and manage them. Make sense? So, what are the effects of stress? Let's say we have a lot of physiological stressors, and we have a lot of psychological stressors, and we have a lot of environmental stressors in our life. We don't even realize how many we have, but we have lots of them. What effect do you think they're having? Well, they're having two effects. They're having psychological effects, and they're having physical effects. So the physical effects are fairly easy. They're causing us to have low energy levels, insomnia, headaches, upset stomach, aches, pains, tense muscles, chest pain, rapid heartbeat, frequent colds and infections. So getting sick all the time. Loss of sexual desire and or ability. And anxiety and nervousness. And anxiety on a daily basis. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today, and they were saying they used to work in a certain job, and they were a good friend of mine, and we used to meet for lunch a lot. And we had a conversation about, is that job improving your life? Because really, when they looked at their life, they didn't need to be in that job. They could have left and take a less paying job, and freed up some of their time and figured out where they wanted to go. But they stayed in that job for a long time, and I noticed how anxious and how nervous and how stressed out and how unhappy they were, and I kept pushing them and I kept saying to them, do me a favor, really think about what this job is doing to your life. Because they're young, they're 24, 25, and I'm like, listen, you've no commitments. All of this anxiety, all this stress, all this unhappiness is being created in the situation you're in. You can leave that situation and you can figure it out, and it's not going to be a big deal. So they left the situation and they took a less paying job, and they struggled a little bit, and they figured it out, and now they're in a very good place. And that person said to me today that back then she was having 14, 15, I suppose, anxiety attacks a day. That's a lot. 15 a day. Social anxiety, work anxiety, just pure fear to go in to a place of work on that morning. And now that's all gone, and she's in a very good place. So, the physical effects of stress are absolutely huge. And if you can identify what's causing them, you have to ask yourself, is that really necessary in my life? The next thing, of course, is psychological effects, guys. And this is very serious. And I will say very serious. Because if we get to a point where we're allowing those three types of stressors, physiological, psychological, and environmental, to psychologically affect us very negatively, we're in a very slippery slope. Because that starts off with confusion and constant worry and overthinking and anxiousness and difficulty concentrating. But then we get into, no sense of humor, frustration, feeling overworked and overwhelmed, and into a lot more serious stuff like feeling helpless and alone, apathy for just life in general, depression. And guys, this work gets very, very serious, because when you get to these points, overwhelmed, feeling helpless and alone, apathetic about your life, and dipping into depression, it's very hard to come back from it. So you really have to understand that stress physically and psychologically has effects. And those three stresses have very serious physical and psychological effects if we don't know how to manage them. So my personal opinion on it, working in the industry for over 8 years and going through my own transformation of going from this exact feeling, overwhelmed, overworked, helpless, alone, unhappy, drinking too much alcohol, not exercising, eating terrible processed food, to realizing that it was all in my control. It was 100% in my control to change. And I had to find a balance. I had to find a balance between my life, my career, what I wanted long term, if I needed to go and retrain, and that's what I did. And it was a tough 9 to 12 months. And I probably never worked harder than I'd ever before that and after that. But that 9 to 12 months, I was very motivated to change because I'd realized that I needed to find a balance. So you have to think about what stopped you changing before. And when you're teaching this to people, when you're teaching people to truly change their physical and mental health, it comes down more to a lot. It does come down a lot more to them just wanting to lose a few pounds. They may not know that, but what you do need to do is bring them through realistic steps of, look, getting them to accept what work needs to be put in, how they need to prioritize it, and maybe to look at their life to see what's negatively affecting their physical and mental health that they can replace with their exercise and with their good nutrition and really improve that. Now, you don't have to be a psychologist to understand this. It's common sense. But a lot of people are stuck in what society is now and not really concentrating on what they want. If you want to be in a better place physically and mentally, then you have to prioritize exercise, food, and stress management. And you have to teach that as a fitness professional. You have to get people to look at their life and go, what is negatively affecting you? What is going to positively affect you? And can we replace one for another? Now, one of my big ones is I bring people through why they didn't change before. And I ask them, when's the last time you wanted to change? Or when's the last time you tried to change? And tell me, was it successful or not? So we go through the mental barriers. And the mental barriers are always things like, well, previously I had no time to change, or I have no time to change right now. I don't like the gym. I've never liked exercise. I don't, it's for fitness freaks. I don't like fruits and vegetables. I love my food too much. I'll start tomorrow, next week, next month. Or I always tell myself that. Now, these are the typical mental barriers you get from people and from clients that are either failing to get the results they want once they start, 3, 4, 5 weeks in, or these are the reasons they gave before they eventually started. Now, you have to go through these one by one. No time right now means you have no time to prioritize it, because we always prioritize what we want in life. So it's quite simply, if you don't want to prioritize time to exercise and improve your physical and mental health, you don't want to improve your physical and mental health. So it has to be a priority. And when it is a priority to you, and most of the time it's a priority to people when something big happens. When they have a kid and they realize they're a role model. When they go to the doctor and they're told they have high blood pressure and they're close to having a heart attack. When they get a scare, like maybe they don't have a heart attack, but they have an angina or an anxiety episode or something where they needed physical fitness and they couldn't do it. That's when real motivation kicks in. But a lot of the time, people don't even really look at why they want to change. They just think, yeah, I'm not happy with where I am. Maybe I'll just get a little bit fitter. And you have to tease it out of them. Well, what do you really want? Like, what do you actually want? Do you want to lose 6 pounds? Do you want to be the fitness you were 10 years ago? Do you want to have the life you had 10 years ago? What has changed? And you have to have a serious conversation about what actual result they want. Because if you don't know the results that your clients want, so the result that you want, how are you ever going to plan it? And how are you ever going to be honest about the work that goes involved in it? I don't like the gym and exercise, and I don't like fruits and vegetables. Silly things. Well, frankly, you just haven't worked out to the right intensity. And we talked about this. We're not going to go so hard we enter the dark zone where it's horrible. We feel like we're going to get sick, nauseous, not going to enjoy it. And we're not going to go too easy where it's no challenge. We just go to the point where it's challenging, it's tough, but it's enjoyable. That's what I call the magic zone, guys. I don't like fruits and vegetables. Someone's just been eating processed food for way too long. And also, they haven't tried it. That's a cop-out. I'm sorry. I got rid of processed food, replaced it with all whole foods, and I enjoyed a lot of it very, very quickly because I put a little bit of effort into making sure that the food I planned wasn't boring. So I made healthy versions of stir-fries, healthy versions of curries. I even did healthy versions of pizza with like pita bread and loads of veggie toppings and a little bit of cheese and tomato paste. So instead of having 1,200 calories, I was having like a chicken pita pizza replacement, which was full of good carbs, good protein, a little bit of fat for only 300 or 400 calories. There's always, if you put some effort in, you know, I loved my food and I wanted to continue to love my food. So when I changed from lots of processed food to whole food, I made sure the whole food I was eating, I enjoyed as much as that processed food. And do I start tomorrow? Do you start on next week? I'll start next month? You won't. You won't. Because the only time you're ever going to start is when you actually want to do it. So stop telling yourself you're going to start tomorrow. Stop telling yourself you're going to start next week. Because that's just an excuse. You're procrastinating. If you truly want to get results, you start now. You start by doing something. And I know there's some people here who's probably done all 8 lessons and they still haven't done a workout and they still haven't planned doing a food diary and they still haven't planned a shopping list and they still haven't changed one thing. And I'm going to say to you now that I'm happy that you're still actually watching the lessons. But do me a favor. Do something now. Execute now. Stop putting it off. Because you have to do it. You have to start living it. If you don't start living it, you're never going to do it. You can plan forever and never do it. What they say, life is what happens when we're planning. Yeah? Start living it. Okay? Now, here's a little tip for stress. Because I know a lot of people think that they honestly don't have time to exercise. How am I possibly going to fit 30 minutes of exercise into my day? Every second of my day is already taken up and I can't possibly fit it in. Do me a favor. Before you go and plan your nutrition on your workouts, sit down for 30 minutes on your own. So if you have kids and a partner or a busy life or whatever, just organize 30 minutes to yourself. Get a piece of paper and a pen. Sit down in the quiet for 30 minutes and do this. List out all of the stressors in your life. List out all of the things that are stressing you out, that are commitments that you feel like you have to do on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, that take up your time, that are affecting you psychologically, mentally. Write them all down. Once you write them all down, do me a favor. Eliminate all the ones that are ridiculous second thoughts. That's a deadline that's 6 months away that you don't have to worry about. That's an expectation from someone else that is not warranted. That is an expectation of yourself that's ridiculous and can't be achieved right now. Eliminate all the ones that you have no control of right now. That you have no control of. They're going to happen anyway. Stop worrying about them. Yeah? For the ones that actually do need a solution, work on the solutions for those worries, those problems. Okay? So I understand that there may be stuff that you do have to deal with. But worrying about it every day is not going to help either. So we look at that problem and we come up with a solution. Every problem has a solution. We just have to figure out the solution. Once we actually figure out the solution, now we have to plan to solve it. How long is it going to take to solve? How much of our day are we going to have to dedicate? And that's when we look at our work, our training, our rest and relaxation time, and we plan it. Like everything in life, we plan it to execute it. Not plan it in the future, plan it in your day-to-day diary. And to give you a rough idea, guys, I'll show you how I do it. Okay, I have a wife, I have a kid, I have a job which is 45 hours a week, and I have other projects I like to work on. And this is how I plan my day. On a Sunday, I sit down and I look at planning my week. And I look at essentially what time am I in work, what time am I home, what time can I fit in my workouts, what do I have to do in work. So I plan everything in work. And I'm very aware of what I can do. So on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I do late nights. So I start late, so I spend time with my family in the morning time. And then I drop off my daughter, and then I go to work, and then I work out in the evening time. And then on Thursday and Fridays, I do early. So I make sure to plan my family time in the evening. We have dinner together, we hang out. I do workout on Thursday, and Fridays I never do a workout. Fridays are a little bit of reflection time at the end of the week. And then Saturday I keep loose. Family time, food shop, workout. You always make sure I get it in somewhere, but I get all that stuff in. And by doing this, planning in action removes anxiety. So we do have to plan it, but once we plan it, then we have to execute it on a daily basis. Now the other thing, guys, is if you miss a workout here, if you miss a workout here, look, if something major happens, that's okay. But you have to have the best intention and you have to be consistent enough. So I plan 5 workouts per week. I am happy if I get 3 to 4 workouts in. If I only get 2 in, I seriously look at that week and I look at, did a number of serious things happen where I had to drop that for another priority that was more important, or did I just cop out of the workout? And the majority of the time it was I copped out and I have to make sure I don't do it again the next week. So plan, execute, and put in the daily work. And guys, I'm like the rest of you, okay? I'm like the rest of you. I do feel like this sometimes, okay? This is literally me trying to reach my goals or how I feel half the time. I feel like I'm standing still. I'm running on a moving stairs. I keep trying to hit those goals and I'm close to them, I just never get there. That's what it feels like when I'm doing it. But then when I get to the goal, I look back and I go, wow, all that time I kept putting in the work, even though I felt like I was going nowhere, is why I got to the goal. Because otherwise I just would have given up and never gotten there. So be very aware that every single person working towards any goal in life probably feels like this most of the time. But if you believe in the process and you enjoy the process, you will get there. You will get there, guys. And that's what we have to teach ourselves. That's what we have to teach our clients. Stress management, plan, and execution. Stress management, plan, and execution. And execute on a daily basis to get the results you want long term. Because, guys, it is not the initial motivation that gets us the result. It's the work we put in, day out, every day for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 16 months, and so on. And we do that work long after that initial motivation went. So we have to believe in the process. We have to believe why we're doing it, and we have to keep doing it anyway. Keep working towards that. So guys, that's pretty much it for that lesson. I do want to talk about career guidance a little bit in this one, and life guidance, I suppose, and investing in yourself and believing in yourself. This is one thing I learned many years ago, and we do this in Module 2. We talk about growth and the growth mindset and the ability to learn from failure and how important failure is to actually success. It is the key. You have to start. And as I said it to everyone. You have to start now. You have to start, you should have been starting in lesson 1, but you have to execute. If you don't start now, don't start today. Do a 5-minute workout, 10-minute workout. I don't care what you do. Do something. Do something that you can be consistent with and progress in. Because if you don't, you're going to be saying the same thing in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, in 9 months' time. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get my routine next week. How many times do you plan on a Saturday or Sunday to start on Monday and then not start on Monday, and then by Wednesday go, I'll start next Monday? And then give yourself a pass for the weekend, and this cycle continues. Start now. Because the sooner you start, the sooner you get the results. Failure. You will never succeed without failing. We learn from our failures, not from our successes. Failure is not just good, but failure is the key to success when we realize that failure is not failing. Because we either win and we get the results we want, or we learn from what we didn't get right. but we don't actually fail. The only time we truly fail is when we give up on the process entirely. Then you do fail. But failure is only an opportunity in the short term to learn in the long term. We win or we learn. Believe, guys, no matter how many times you fail or you come across an object that's challenging or you get across a period that just doesn't work out for you, you believe in the process, you work towards that process, and you keep going. It's not always going to go the way you want, but you have to believe in the process and you have to keep working towards it. Because if you do, you'll get there. And then lastly, guys, love the work. When you're doing it, love it. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the daily grind. Enjoy the workouts. Enjoy the food. Because if you don't, you're not going to do it long term. And if you don't, you're not going to reach the goal. So do me a favor. Figure out a way that you're going to enjoy the workouts. Whether it's picking the right intensity. It's picking strength workouts over cardiovascular workouts. It's doing strength circuits to get both in as opposed to running on a treadmill. Or the opposite. If you like the HIIT workouts more and the body weight exercises more than weight training, then that's fine. Try and develop that and try and develop more, say, body weight exercises or strength exercises into your cardio days. It doesn't matter what you do. Just once you enjoy the process. We're going to look at the 100 different ways we can program in Module 2. So you don't have to do a certain percentage of it. Okay, there's ways you can program the ones you prefer that get all the benefits as well. But figure out a way you enjoy it. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. Okay, guys? Brilliant. So, very, very important. Start now. Accept failure as part of the process and part of succeeding. Believe in the process and love the daily work. So guys, I'm going to wrap up the lesson there, but I do want to say a massive congratulations for completing your Lesson 8 and Module 1, because you guys are the cream of the crop now left. We do tend to lose a few people along the way because they're looking for the quick fixes or the easy workouts or the magic pills. But whoever's left is obviously serious about moving on, improving their fitness, improving their health, and really getting 1% better every day and enjoying the process. And that's really what fitness and weight loss and just getting in better shape is about, is, you know, making your body a better machine. So massive congratulations on completing the course. And if you look at what we covered over the past 4 weeks, it's a massive amount, absolutely massive amount. We looked at fat loss versus weight loss, and finally, hopefully you understand the difference. And what we actually want is not weight loss, but fat loss, okay? We all want to lose fat. We don't necessarily care about weight. Weight is a mixture of water and muscle and fat. We want to hang on to that muscle. So what we're looking for is subcutaneous fat, visceral fat loss. And how do we do that? We get in better shape by understanding our cardio, by understanding our strength, by programming high-intensive interval training into our day-to-day, whether it be 15 or 20 minutes, and to see real improvements. You know, now that you understand, look, strength training is about shaping the body, is about keeping you physically fit, and it's not about building lots and lots of muscle like a bodybuilder. It's about maintaining the muscle that you built in your childhood and your teen years that we tend to lose as an adult when we become more sedentary. We looked at the strength training fundamentals and the importance of staying strong for everyone. We looked at practical meal planning, the portion control method, tracking your food, and really understanding your body. Like really and truly understanding your body as a machine, so the better your machine runs, the better you're going to feel. You know, what kind of car do we want? Do we want a junker? Do we want a sports car? It's up to us to put the right fuel in, and it's up to us to make sure that the actual physical appearance of that car and the structure of that car, that body is taken care of. And by staying fit and healthy and active and keeping our body working well, then we don't have to worry about the way the media pushes workouts and nutrition, and they make it sound so complicated. It's not complicated. You get up every day, you move your body for 20 minutes or 25 minutes, whether it be cardio, whether it be strength, whether it be flexibility, and we do this for long enough, and you have a proper working machine. It's as simple as that, guys. We understand about stress management. We understand that we need to change our mindset and motivation towards our body being better. It's not about losing a few pounds.
It's not about going on a crash diet to lose a few pounds, because losing a few pounds is pointless if it doesn't change our shape, if it doesn't give us more muscle and lose fat and make us feel better. So understanding all of those things, guys, injury prevention, recovery, obesity and weight problems, understanding how food has changed massively over the past 50 years. And remember what I talked about in lesson 3. Food has changed more in the past 50 years than it has in the previous 10,000 years. On a daily basis, we're taking in a huge amount of processed food we don't even realize. And we got supplement companies pushing things like protein bars and protein shakes and weight loss pills and all this kind of stuff, when if we just get back to eating properly, whole food, moving the body, then we'll be 100 times better off. We see the link between disease and sedentary lifestyle and really not moving the body. There's a massive link to disease and not moving the body. Okay, non-communicable diseases, they're not contagious. They used to be called hypokinetic diseases, which literally translate into lack of movement diseases. Diseases that are caused from lack of movement. And we add on top of that huge amounts of processed food. It's a recipe for heart disease, stroke, and long-term dying younger than we want to. And we hopefully we understand now why the body is made to move and why we should move it every day. And lastly, guys, the barriers to real results and the truth behind real results. And I'll tell you the truth behind real results, because here's myself here in the top left, as I always say. It took me about really 9-10 months to get that physical change, and still mentally today, I'm still understanding on a yearly basis how fitness is different to me, because I have a different body every year. Leanne on the top right, one of the most amazing people I've ever worked with and trained with and helped transform their life, and so many others over the past 8-9 years as I've worked in the fitness industry. You have now mastered the theory behind how we get in shape, but it's time for the next step, and it's time to seriously look at how we're going to plan that, how we're going to implement that, how we're going to understand how to progress each workout and progress our training and progress our meal planning as we maybe hit plateaus in our training, or as we hit plateaus in our weight loss or our fat loss. That's what Module 2 is all about. It's starting to understand not just that we need to exercise and just a few basic workouts. It's understanding how we progress every single workout so we get the results we want. But how we progress them in a way that we still enjoy every single workout. And it's not torture, and we shouldn't be puke, fainting, or dying. You shouldn't have to kill yourself 4 or 5 times a week in a gym to get results. You shouldn't have to be miserable 4 or 5 times a week to get results. In fact, most of the people that get fantastic results actually learn how to properly enjoy it. And enjoyment should be number 1 in your exercise programming, and that's what we're going to cover all through Module 2. Exercise programming for enjoyment and real results. So guys, if you've come this far and you're not a subscription member yet, then I don't know why you're here. Unless you're continuing on. So make sure you continue on and make sure we finally put into practice. Like if you haven't got that routine yet, and that's okay. A lot of people don't in 3 or 4 weeks. It takes 6-7 weeks sometimes to get that routine. So make sure that you upgrade, you do your module assignment, and you move on to Module 2. Also, for anyone doing this professionally, guys, it's a no-brainer. Okay? Module 1 is 25%. If you want the qualification, it's all 4 modules. Okay, all 4 modules are 4 weeks long for your EQF Level 5 professional diploma to enter the fitness industry, and it's a globally recognized qualification. Whether you're in the UK, US, South Africa, Ireland, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Australia, United Arab Emirates, whenever you are, you can find your local body and they will tell you what your equivalent of an EQF Level 5 is in your country, so you can enter the fitness industry. So guys, if you're not already a member, there's up to 50% off, and that's ending very soon. So I jump on that now. Make the decision, make the dedication, take the next step forward and do it. And if you're already a member, simply add it in your members area.